I'm Toby Witte. I design and build modern houses here in Charlotte, and I got to design and build this one for my family. We found a property about 3 years ago, and or 4 years ago, and started designing and building it. And so it's 5 of us. We live in here. It's relatively small, only 1,700 square feet, and so we had to make it feel big and spacious with a little bit to go. And so the 3 girls have each a bedroom upstairs, and downstairs is sort of a loft feel, kind of designed around a brick wall that starts outside and goes through the building, and all the space is kind of pinwheel around that. One of the things we try to capitalize on is to get as many built-ins in there as possible, and unique storage solutions, so that, for instance, the kitchen is small but feels large, is functional, that there's built-in compost, for example, easy to access drawers, shoe storage, niches to hang your jackets, the closets. There's no walk-in closets. It's all room-high wardrobes that are part of the space of the living environment in there. And so that was one way to make it all work. One concept we try to do in here is have, so the 3 daughters, our 3 daughters, they have each a room, and they jut out from each other so that the windows in the rooms point to each other, and so the sisters have a sense of each other being around, and so they have a sense as a family to be together, have a view of each other, but still have the privacy. Windows were quite important here. We try to get as much daylight and views from the outside in, so the windows downstairs are huge, floor to ceiling, but to the street they're relatively small windows, and they're narrow slits, so that views are still there, sunlight still comes in, but there's privacy giving towards the street. You know, spring days and fall days, they can open up the windows and they talk to each other. When they do their homework, they see each other, but the privacy is still there. So while they can see, they can have more of a sense of each other, but can't really see that well into the room. But they know of each other, they have their sisters around each other, and know that they're, you know, together and protected. So we try to design the kitchen really to our needs. We cook a lot and wanted to make it as efficient and practical as we can. So the window was one thing we looked at, where we are connected to the street and see our neighbors, but it doesn't expose us, and so the privacy is still there for us. And when we're sitting over here further in the living area, the window actually is further up, and so we don't see the street, and so the further you get into the space, the more privacy there is. But we really measured what we do and figured out every square inch, because we didn't have that much square feet to waste. And here, for instance, is a compost, so when we chop up our vegetable, it goes right in there, and there's a bucket in there that you can take out these. The kitchen is part of the living environment, so we try to make it feel like a built-in cabinet with simple drawers, but in it it's jam-packed. You can see the mess here of groceries and spices, and you can already have access to it. And so the kitchen was trying to be simple, straightforward, and practical. Stainless steel counter, just like in a professional kitchen, the best counter you can have in a kitchen. So it's really fun to cook in here. So the idea was to include the square feet of the bedroom into the living room space, so that during the day, the living room in this area feels so much larger. And then, but during the night, I mean, when you want to have the privacy, you can close these room-high panels here and close off the bedroom and give that privacy back to the bedroom. But then during the day, you get to put these away and have all of that square feet and space back in here for the living room. Well, so yeah, this screen here is actually a leftover piece from the scrapyard. Some place cut out steel pieces here to manufacture something, and this is a leftover piece, and so we just picked it out, cleaned it up, and installed it here as a screen to hang the TV. And so have a wall for the TV, but still be an open thing, so the space has, you know, can breathe and be open. So as you can tell by the accent I can't get rid of, I'm originally from Germany, and I'm sure I brought some ideas and concepts from there. modern ideas of living, space-saving ideas, and all of the good stuff. So we have been actually stuck in here during the quarantine, during the pandemic for a whole year. It's a small house, 1,700 square feet, and yet it never felt like we were on top of each other. And so I noticed a lot of people are redesigning their homes, adding on, doing renovations because precisely their homes aren't working. And so I really do think that homes here in Charlotte are just not made to be lived in. And the nice sort of realization we had is that our house is actually working, and the quarantine, the living at home, being cooped up in here, actually brought to the forefront that it's working as a living environment quite well. So in this case, since it was a house for myself and my family, the hardest part was to get my own design fervor in check. So we had to meet our budget, make sure we get it all in. And so the trick was to behave and pull out all the stops, but bring it in the budget that we were planning for. Thank you very much for coming by and checking out the house. I hope you saw something interesting, and thank you so much.